Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Bobby Cleveland here, Executive Director, Oklahoma Corrections Professionals, with our weekly forecast. And I also have representing J.J. Humphrey here.
Hello,
Uh,
Bob.
he been busy out campaigning, and he's doing about four other things in his life that's going on. And we continue to hear of deaths in the prison, and I think we've had two or three this week. Is that right, JJ?
Well, Bob, we've had, and it's just hard to keep up. I will tell you the one thing this morning, I'd sent out our little typo that we like to put out and tell people kind of what we're going to discuss. Right after I get that out, I start getting even more. So apparently they've had a death at Great Plains. And Bob, you know what's funny with Great Plains? If you visit up there and you visit around, apparently they got a bunch in the hospital. It sounds like they got a huge amount in the hospital, but then you don't ever hear of anything. It sounds like, I mean, if you was to just be the average person looking in, you'd think Great Plains was just a model of how a prison ought to be. You don't hear nothing going on over there, which was quite, Bob used to, boy, that was a hot spot. You hear something every day. So what happened? I mean, why is it all of a sudden went just stealth? It's
Well, I
quite.
think it's still happening. We're just not getting the information. They're just hiding it good. But I know that.
But I think you're right, Bob.
But I
Uh,
think did somebody get beat up over there real bad?
well, apparently today, uh, what I got is they had a death. I don't know if he got stabbed. They said a death. They said unattended. Bob, I always just laugh at the little new names: unattended, attended. Group disruptions, all of that, walkaways, all that kind of bull shit that they have started. That just all it is. It's just words to disguise, words to make it look like their disaster is better. You know, um, it's like putting whipped cream on cow hockey. You know what I'm saying? It's still cow
My
hockey.
understanding was the guy got beat up so bad it was unrecognizable.
Well, I think that was at Great Plains, Bob. Not Great Plains, but that was out Allen Gamble. That was Friday that they had a
That's
little
what was
white
talking
kid.
about, Alec Gamble.
Yeah, Allen Gamble. I mean, they're not doing so good at hiding everything. They had a white kid that apparently they said he was beat unrecognizable, and then just the morning after that, what I understood, they had a stabbing. Possibly, a guy got stabbed in the neck 5 times. Bob, I've had reporters watch what we have on this, and I just want to say if we've got some reporters watching today, here's the problem that what you need to be reporting on and what you need to go after is what they've done to stop you from getting records, stop me from getting records, not telling the truth, not being transparent with stuff that is public record. If you get stabbed in a toka, guess what? It's going to be on the front page. Guess what? Who gets charged with it's going to be on the front page. Tell me why that you have more confidentiality, that you have top level security in a prison. You don't have security. What you have is top level hiding of information. And so again, they're not, Bob. They don't have some kind of anonymity that keeps them from having to
No, not at
not.
all.
Yeah, of all places, that ought to be the place that is transparent, and they're the least transparent, Bob. It's unreal, and I'm trying to get these news stations, and Bob, they don't pick up on it. Our legislative leadership. So we're talking top leadership in the House made a deal with the Department of Corrections to not let me, when I was chairman of corrections, that they prevented me from getting any information. Now, can you imagine an agency telling the committee head, you cannot have any information? But then, greater, that they make a deal with your own House leadership not to allow you to have information. Bob, it's illegal. It's double illegal because it's illegal to violate the Open Records Act, and it's double illegal to conspire with each other to violate. That's called conspiracy. It's a crime. So they've committed 2 crimes, and yet nobody seems interested in reporting. And why that's important, Bob, is because this white kid that got beat up beyond recognition, he's the only one that's been beat up beyond recognition. Bob, we've had 4 people beat up since last September. So in a year's period of time, I personally know and have pictures of 3 of the 4. And, you know, let me see. Ross, that one kid, Brandon, boom. Okay. I got pictures of 2 of the 4. And anyways, we had a kid beat up not too long ago at Hamilton the same way. And what's funny now, they won't even let the family in because they don't want pictures. They don't want them pictures out. So the family can't even see their loved ones when they're about to pass. And again, Bob, the information that your loved one is been stabbed or beaten up is not. They don't get it to them. They're horrific, Bob. The carnage in this place is unbelievable. The carnage in DOC is unbelievable. And again, that stabbing occurred right there. About the next day, I think five got stabbed there. Then I was told, and this said Allen Gamble again, I was told shortly, somewhere around that point, had an old boy walk in. I don't know what happened to his shoulder, but his shoulder was broke. Other old boy's jaw was broke. And they were needing to take this boy. I would think the guy with the broke jaw they'd want to take to the hospital. They want to take one with the shoulder, and guess what?
They don't have anybody to do it.
No staff. No staff can't get him to the hospital. Bob, is that crazy? I mean, that's what's going on in these facilities, and they're pretending. They're going out and telling these legislators, oh, JJ's lost his mind. Bob and JJ, they just all the time griping. They don't know what they're talking about. And again, none of them will get off of their hiney and go look. I think, Bob, they know that it is that bad. They just don't want to mess with it. I think it's what
they hired another ex-legislator. Trying to think of his name. He was I think 2 years ahead of me. Trying to think of who it was. I don't think it was Tom Newell. But anyway, I heard today they'd hired I'm sure they're trying to catch somebody to get them in with the legislatures because they're sick of them. They're lying.
They don't need to hire somebody. They need to start telling the truth.
Yeah.
They need to come out. As I said, and I mean, we come on here the last 2 weeks. I'm not gonna,
did we have somebody killed last Friday?
Oh yeah. When we were reporting last week, we had Bob. I mean, we're having.
But we didn't have that one that got killed because he got killed in the afternoon.
Bob, it's a rare deal. Yeah, the one on Friday we reported, and then he got killed that afternoon. That's what I'm going. My week runs from Friday to Friday. So when we get done reporting, then I start trying to keep track what's happened since we reported, and I count that. But it did occur on Friday, but it occurred that death with the kid getting beat up occurred Friday afternoon. Saturday morning, here comes the other one that gets stabbed. I'm not sure whether he's dead or not. I mean, if you get stabbed 5 times in the neck.
Well, what happened there at Lark? I heard they had a big incident over there.
Well, what I'm getting is that they had a serious incident, assault on staff, and you had about 10 to 13 inmates involved in it. So again, that sounds like one of those K. Thompson group disturbances. You know what I'm saying? I think that almost rises to the level. We'd have to ask Kay because I'm not sure where that number kind of kicks in, what Kay would consider a group disturbance. But I mean, hell, I think that ought to be getting pretty close to it. I would think.
I heard that officer hurt pretty bad.
Yeah, I think it was pretty serious. Let's just let Kay, if you can kind of text us on here on OCP. Just text it, comes up. If you'll pop a text on there, let us know what you consider to be a group. Kind of give us a little description. What's the difference between just a disturbance, just an assault, a disturbance, a group disturbance, and what you would call a really out and out riot. I guess they'd have to burn down everybody, kill everybody to classify a riot. I don't know. But yeah, Bob, they sound like you've got some assaults on staff now. In my opinion, Bob, they're really trying to cover up the assault on staff. And these officers, I get called all the time. Officers get urine thrown on them, spit on, and all that, which is quite funny because that's what they said. They took old Ross, inmate Ross, that they covered up his death. They said that's what got him moved to McAllister from a minimum to McAllister, which is not legit, I don't think. But anyways, they didn't file charges on him, but that got him moved is serious enough. Why are they not filing charges on these assaults on staff? And why are they not reporting them and it's not getting out? And Bob, if you want to know, and this is just JJ Humphrey's opinion, but I've been around corrections a long time. Not as much in prison, but working with DOC for many, many years, 35 years. Number one thing, Bob, that you ought to keep your eye on. Number one thing to always watch: assaults on staff. When you start seeing lots of assaults on staff, that's telling you they've lost control. That's a very important number. And again, I will tell you,
Well,
I say,
otherwise they wouldn't turn it over to the inmates.
yeah, I'm going to make a word up like Kay uses, perpetual right. I say the Department of Corrections is in a perpetual right, and that means that they've lost total control of all of their facilities. Some not as much as others, but again, you got the inmates running. You got the coops running the nut house. You know what I'm saying? So you got the inmates running the DOC. And again, I can tell you, when it comes to Great Plains, when it comes to Dick Connors, when it comes to Allen Gamble, when it comes to Lawton, all these facilities. Bob, that's another thing. I hadn't heard much from Lawton. And I can guarantee you, it didn't just, you don't just go, boom, things are done. You know what I'm saying?
Where was that at? Where the inmates wouldn't let the officer come down the pod?
That was Allen Gamble. That happened twice, Bob, I think.
Okay.
Hey, you had another death at Harp, I think, this week. So again, what's amazing, you never had deaths at Harp. They were really well known for being one of the facilities, kind of like the retirement home for corrections, for inmates. It was a nice facility. They took a lot of pride in not having incidents. And Bob, I mean, they've been one of the top ones here lately that we've been reporting on that have incidents all the time. That started under that previous warden who they've moved out to Lawton. So again, if you look at having a really, really well-run prison, guy comes in and it goes to heck in a handbasket, and then they take that guy and put him over one of the toughest prisons there are. And you're not hearing anything. All of a sudden, it's just all cleaned up. That's fairyland stuff, Bob.
That's the same thing with Allen Gamble.
Oh yeah, they're saying, well, look how we transitioned Allen Gamble. We had a good smooth. I don't know what they call smooth transition, but Allen Gamble wasn't it. If you want to see how not to transition, guess what? Great Plains, same thing. I mean, if you want to see how not to transition, and so again, I know right off the bat they were having hospital runs. I mean, as many as 5 to 8 a day. So it's hard to believe those just shut down. They didn't have toilet paper. They had a lot of problems with that. I think they lost some staff. So to hear nothing at all, I will tell you, they are doing an excellent job. DOC is doing an excellent job.
Well, my understanding is that at Mabel Bassett, they've had at least 6 assaults since August
Had
on
assault this
on
morning. I got
officers, and
called on it.
one officer I think was a case manager. She's still under FLMA. She's still out. Man,
Yeah.
there's some serious stuff there going on at Mabel Bassett.
Well, they had assault. Actually, when I put my report out this morning, I got called on the Great Plains, and then turned around and got called on Mabel Bassett. So, Bob, I mean, you can't keep up. I mean, my phone, Bob, I'm going all over. I was in Podo last night, not Podo. I was in Idabel last night. Podo the night before, Stillwell the night before, Tulsa that day. Bob, I'm all over the place. And I'm on the phone 24/7 driving down the road. So if I don't call somebody back, guys, I promise you, I'm trying to get you.
It
I'm
doesn't
just
sound
trying
like
to
to me
call.
you've been very busy.
Do what?
Doesn't sound like you've been very busy.
Nah, just playing around. But Bob, between DHS and DOC, and Bob, this is what I truly don't get. This is what has been boggling my mind. Mr. Ferris, I know you don't want to talk to me, but could you send me a text or something? Just let me know what's going on. Why are y'all firing you're firing people right and left. I can name you 5 or 6 people this week that you have fired. And don't even tell them. I mean, like one lady, you ain't even said what you're fired for the good of the cause. That's the most ignorant, sorriest, that's sorry. If you're going to fire somebody, and here's what your policy says. I know y'all don't go by policy, but here's what your policy says. Your policy says that you have a progressive discipline. That means you go in there and you say, hey, you're doing this wrong. We want you to straighten it out. Hey, you're doing this wrong. We want you to straighten out. Then you give a letter of concern saying, I done told you verbally twice. Now I'm telling you in writing. That documents 3 tellings. Boom. Then you go back and start giving some time off. Then if they don't get it, fine, fire them. That's called progressive. I know it's a whole new idea, but it's in your policy. Progressive discipline. Trying to make better employees, trying to train your employees. That's what it's about. Not because somebody got their panties in a wad or got their underwear all tied up. Guess what? That's not what it is. Y'all got the, I don't like this person. And somebody ain't got the memo out. Hey, we're short-handed and we got a critical staffing issue. Send the memo out. Put the memo out. You got a critical staffing issue. You have people getting killed. You have people getting raped. You have people getting extorted to the levels of I've never seen. Third world country. Guaranteed, Bob, it's unbelievable.
I think we're supposed to have 1,900 officers.
Well, now, Bob, hold on. You just got a new prison that has 2,300 inmates, so it probably should have at least 300. So I would say probably that would have had to increase. You probably should have 2,000.
Well, so they got a budget. The budget is for 1,900 right now. The budget's there, and they only have. I would venture to say it's hard to figure out how many they do have, but I would say they have between 800 and 900 officers.
They say 12. They say 12, but I would say if they say 12, it's probably somewhere around 8. Yeah.
Because I mean, they're counting everybody that.
Well, Bob, they can count everybody. That's fine. They can put that on there. But guess what? Last time that they told us that they were only 300 short, 6 months later, after fighting with them like cats and dogs, they come back and said we're 940 short.
Yeah.
And what's funny, I called around and found out how short they was before. You know what I'm saying? So.
But then we're having inmates killed on a weekly basis. We're having officers beaten on a regular basis. So we're just minutes away from having one of them killed.
Well, here's what's funny, Bob. I'm gonna tell you how bad things are. I'm gonna give you an example how bad DOC prison is. Okay, I got a very, very good friend. I mean, I'm talking super good friend. One of the best people I've met as being a representative. This guy is just down to earth, good folk. Okay.
Well, thank you, JJ.
gets into quite a bit of trouble and has had quite a bit of trouble. And he's got a charge out of Texas, and he's got another charge that could go federal. Okay. And I told my friend, I said, I tell you what you need to do. You need to push so he could get everything here in Oklahoma, and the kid could go to Oklahoma prison. He'd be closer. You know what I'm saying? He'd be able to see him. But I told him, I said, I'm going to tell you something. Push to get your kid in prison in Texas, or push to have them take it federal charges, because you do not want your son going to an Oklahoma prison.
We got
and that's somebody I love, Bob. That's somebody I care about. And again, my advice to them is, whatever you do, don't let your kid go to an Oklahoma prison. And that's a pretty sad. I hope you're listening, Mr. Ferris. That's a sad, sad commentary that I would tell one of my great friends, that they need to make certain that their kid don't end up in your system, because they'll end up dead, they'll end up raped, they'll end up extorted, they'll end up coming out 10 times worse than they were. It's a sad, sad day. And again, what are you going to do? Are you going to get up and admit this? Or are you just going to keep doing same old business? Because, you know, it looks, I hope you change, man. I'm in your corner. I hope you change. But it don't, Bob, you know, he's been there 3 or 4 weeks, and I hadn't heard anything out yet that makes me go, woo, we got a new guy driving them. You know, it looks like business as usual. And they're firing more people this week than I've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? That's the calls I'm getting. And Bob, you know, I mean, me and you have been around this OCP thing for a while. And there are people that may need to be fired. If you haul dope in, if they catch you hauling dope in, guess what? I'm not going to offend you. I'd say fire you right then and there. I think you'd be the same way, wouldn't you, Bob?
Yep.
You know, if you hold your nurses hostage and you have guns in your car, I'd say fire you.
Yeah.
But Bob, ain't it funny how they don't fire that person, but they'll turn around and fire a person and tell them, we don't even have to tell you. We're not even going to tell you what. You know, what could you do, Bob, if having hostages and a gun in the penitentiary doesn't get you fired? What could that lady have done to get fired? I mean, what level of atrocity did she commit to get fired? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And she's sitting there going, I don't even know what it did. I don't even know what got fired for.
Yeah, and we got officers that'll have a good, clean record, 8, 10 years. They just, zam, they're gone.
Well, Bob, not only a good, clean record, but promoting. If you're promoting somebody, that means they're doing a good job. Common sense would tell you, if you're promoting this person, if they promoted 4 times in 8 years, that's every 2 years, they're getting a promotion or so. Then all of a sudden, they turn around and they're a bad person. You got somebody got 18 years in and, you know, going to the doctor and gets a call, hey, come back down here, we want to fire you.
Well, I've heard now, again, I've just heard this, that over at Mabel Bassett, they had found mold in there, and they blamed it on the officer for having mold.
Well, Bob, if they want pictures of mold, guess what? I'll shoot pictures of mold all over. I've got pictures of mold, pictures of commodes, showers. My gosh, I'll send that to them. Bob, how many times has Dick Connors shut down with E. coli? You know, how many times has the water been turned off at Dick Connors in the last 2 to 3 years? Anybody getting fired over that? Because that's a management problem. How come y'all can't get that fixed? We had ARPA money. Why didn't y'all go get some of that ARPA money, fix all that problem? Guess what? Y'all's in tight. Harp was in tight with the governor. You'd think y'all could at least got a little bit of the ARPA money, fix the infrastructure there at Harmony to fix that water problem. But guess what? Every time you turn around, there's a water problem. So it's amazing. Well, that officer's responsible for that mold, but we're not responsible for the water being shut off every 5 minutes and people getting sick. It's all crap.
Well, there's rumors going around at JEHCC that Sparks is there today, that they didn't know he was coming, and he made a surprise visit.
Right.
So,
well, you know,
he's got a lot of experience and background, so I'm sure he could really get in on something.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He wouldn't know it if it bit him in the butt. You know, he could walk by, and that's the problem, Bob. The people don't know. And again, they're going down there and acting like, oh, you know, the staff is sick of them. I talk to the staff all the time. The staff is sick of being treated like they have been treated. And especially when you talk about OSP and Jackie Brandon, what they've done, trying to combine those two, trying to force people over there, making every place shorthanded. People are in danger, you know. Now, I will say this, Bob, I hadn't heard anything at OSP or Brandon in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I have.
Have you?
Yeah, I've had, and it's been mostly about on the warden.
Well, now I do take that back. Yeah, because the person had gotten fired, and I did talk on that warden. I think.
Well, has Jim Hamilton had anybody murdered lately?
Do what?
Has Jim Hamilton had anybody murdered lately?
No. The what's going on at Jim Hamilton? One of their employees, the latest that's going on. What I'm told is one of their employees got targeted. It sounds like by OIG, and they just show up. Hey, I want to go out here and look at your vehicle, and they found a couple items in the vehicle. Again, I would encourage that young man. Bob, we got to call him. We need to call him because how do you riddle me this, Bob? How do they find a gun in his car locked up, supposedly, allegedly, but they find a gun unlocked, two guns unlocked in this person at Allen Gamble, and she held hostages, but they ain't gonna fire her, and they're gonna fire this young man. Riddle me that, Bob. Tell me how. Hey, Mr. Ferris, would you please write us and tell us, because apparently we don't know. There must be a page 2. Give us the Paul Harvey page 2 of that, because we inquiring minds would really like to know why in the world. Now, here's what's funny, Bob, and I think that you would agree to this, that we would used to, when Scott Crow was there, one of the things that we could go to Justin Ferris, and he assigned a person to you to where we could go, and we didn't have to air all this out like we're doing today, because that's not the good way to do business. It's not a good way to do business. But when they refuse to talk to you, so I just want people to understand why it is that we call this stuff out, because they have refused to talk on stuff like this. They refuse to try to get informal resolutions and to admit that, yeah, there's something bad wrong, or yeah, we had some really.
Well, they always blame it on the employee. They didn't do nothing wrong. They always blame it on the employee. It has nothing to do with it because they mismanaged it and got shortage of staff everywhere. Employees' problem.
Well, Bob, they're going to have a hard time. Explain that one to me. I mean, you want to talk about a hard time explaining something. Explain how you have a person take other people hostage and you don't file charges on them.
Yeah.
Hostage. I mean, Bob, that's
put it back to work.
That's like, wow, how do you not file charges on that person? Now they can come back and say, well, we don't believe the person's in their right mind. Well, guess what? How many people are filed on for murder and they ain't in their right mind? How many people are arrested all over the country all the time, and they have see a psychologist to see if they were in their right mind? Doesn't matter. They committed the crime of holding hostages. Kidnapping, it is a serious crime. Kidnapping, threats, assault, all of that. Boom. Guess what? No charge to my knowledge. Guess what? Guns in the car, and this person's back to work in about a week or two. You go down here, you got a gun locked in a car, no good employees showing up. Now, if they got something else on that guy, I suspect that they thought something, or they wouldn't have been there targeting him. They asked directly for him. So that tells me, just using my rationale, that tells me, I mean, they have some suspicion, but again, they didn't catch anything on suspicion. They caught that gun. It was locked in the vehicle. I mean, am I okay in that? Probably not. But when you just let another person go on that, when your own director got caught carrying a gun into the prison, when your own director shot his floor, when your own director left a shotgun in the back seat, when inmates were cleaning the car, really, are y'all gonna fire him on that when all of the stuff I'm mentioning, and you're gonna fire him on that and not give him
Wasn't
letters
there
of credit?
somewhere one of the facilities had an officer was paying another inmate to beat up another inmate, or I don't
Yeah,
remember.
Bob, that's the rumor that they said they fired this officer. There's two rumors going on that. One rumor says that he paid an inmate to stab another inmate. The other rumor is that he assaulted that inmate while he was in handcuffs. Again, Bob, again, I don't know whether that's true or not. But again, if that is true, and this is the issues that I have, it's like when they find out that an officer has sex with an inmate and they just walk them out. The reason they walk them out is they do not want that on their record. They do not want to show that they have a PREA, that they have, they just don't want to show that. I'm getting some text at the top of my screen. I'm trying to read while I talk. But anyways, they're not wanting to show these things. So it's the same way when they have these assaults, when they have, but Bob, right there, if he did beat up an inmate while handcuffed, that's a civil rights violation. You don't fire him, and you do fire him, but you don't walk him out and go, hey, don't worry about it. Go down the road and get your job with some police department or some other. There's a reason you file on them to make sure that they don't need to be working in that kind of field or so. And so, again, Bob, and they're going to have situations where inmates are going to say this officer did this or this. We don't always assume the officer's guilty. I like to stand up for officers. I do take up for officers. And officers are getting assaulted. Officers are having to work 50,000 jobs, work overtime, and then they're getting fired for nothing. So I want to make sure that we want to tell you officers, hey, we're here to defend you. I have your back. I will not have your back when you beat up a handcuffed officer. I will not have your back when you know that officers are locking people in 2x2 cells and leaving them 9 days, and you don't say nothing. I don't have your back on that. That's up to you to step forward and say something. That's grotesquely, that's human rights violations. You have a duty to start coming out and speaking up on that.
Well, I just got little bits and pieces on that, but I thought he was a captain.
Lieutenant's what I heard, Bob.
Lieutenant.
Our lieutenant that, and again, there's two different rumors. I had a group call me and say he for sure got fired. They're hearing this, they're hearing that. But again, you can't confirm it through the department. We should be able to confirm that. We shouldn't have to go out on rumors. We shouldn't have to go out here on the air and address the administration on these kinds of wrongs. We ought to be able to have, communications privately and get them resolved and go out and be able to report the truth. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would love to see. I would love to see positive communication back and forth. Work on things like we have in the past, getting officers raises, getting probation officers raises, getting better uniforms. Those kind of things that we were able to do. And again, we had to fight them on everything. And so, Bob, we've been on here 3 times, 3 weeks, and said, hey, we want to offer olive branch. We want to, let you, sit down with us, meet us, work it out, represent these employees, quit firing employees, nonchalant all the time. And Bob, I just don't, that is one thing that boggles my mind, how that you can be in such a dangerous, critical state on shortage of employees, and they're firing them like it was nobody's business. I mean, they're just getting rid of them.
Well, they fire them, and then they'll say, well, we're firing you for the good of business, but they don't say why they fired you. I mean, if you fire somebody, you got to be a reason. You got to do something wrong. You shouldn't just
Bob,
be
I can
willy-nilly.
tell you this: when you're short-handed as they are, I don't see how it's for the good of business. And again, I don't see them hiring a massive. You don't see a massive academies coming out and replacing anybody. I don't see that. I don't see our numbers growing extremely fast. In fact, it looks to me like they're going the opposite way. So again, Bob, if I'm full, used to, you could pick and choose. You know what I'm saying? Used to, boy, you had them lined up wanting to come to work here. Somebody does a little something. Hey, we're not going to tolerate that. You gone. Okay, keep people held. But right now that ain't the case. And right now you may have to tolerate a little bit more than what you wanted to tolerate. But you at least ought to be able to articulate. And Bob, I will tell you a pretty good indicator that they're just grotesquely wrong on this issue is that when they go to court, if you lose 98, 99% of the time, you might start. Scooby-Doo would say that's a clue. Scooby-Doo would say, any people that had any kind of intelligence or rationale would have to sit back and go, we're losing every case in a court we set up. And we set up a game. We set up a game where the entire rules were set for us to win. And we are losing every time we turn around. 99% of the time, we're losing on the game we set up to win and set all the rules to win. That is a pretty loud statement, Bob, I would think.
This sure is.
And yet, you know what? Have they come and said, and the other part of that, what's that costing the department? What's that costing the state of Oklahoma?
Well, it costs the state of Oklahoma a lot of money because they go out and hire high dollar attorneys because their attorneys aren't capable of handling the lawsuits. So they still lose.
Well, what's going to be funny, Bob? They're going to run out of appeals before very long, and that's where we are. We've been about 2 years running on a bunch of cases where they're going to appeal, and sooner or later, these appellate courts are going to go, no, you don't have anything to appeal on. You don't have anything to appeal on, and they're going to lose. And then guess what?
They're taking up the court's time. That's what they're doing. You're taking up the court's time, and there's got to be some type of something in the law that says that where you're taking up the court's time, unusually amount of time, and losing all these cases that you lose.
Well, and then when they finally lose them, guess what, Bob? They're going to have to start back paying back pay. You know what? They're going to have to give them the time that they would have acquired, for holidays, for the retirement stuff, the whole 9 yards. They're going to get everything: sick days, holidays, retirement, pay. Now, I'm going to tell you something. You take 30 some odd people, and that's just the ones that we are kind of dealing with. And, and then, Bob, you got 6 over there, I think. I can't remember how many still in that lawsuit, but you got 6 or 7 top executives that are fired.
That's got to be coming to court pretty quick.
Yeah, and they're got lawsuits. Let's say each one of them win two or 300,000, 170, 100. You know what I'm saying? You're talking over $1 million just settlement right there. I figure it'd be well over $1 million.
Of course, that doesn't bother them. They got a unlimited amount of money. They don't have. They don't. They got that 1,900 employees. They don't have budget. So how much money is that? You got 800 people you're short of, and you take that times, what would that be? Just take a high number, say $50,000 a year times 800. So, and
Well,
that's just
Bob, if
it
you
out there.
said they were saying 1,700 before they got Lawton, okay? So if you said 1,700, you pull in Lawton, that bounces up to 2,000. So they ought to have 2,000 people, okay? We've allotted them 1,700. So again, I would assume when they purchased that prison that anybody would have went back in there and give them those numbers and said, "Hey, we got to increase to this." They kicked me out of that whole process, so I need to go back and look, but I don't see it. I think they still leave it at the same level, which is insane. You just bought a new prison that has 300 plus correctional officers, not to count the other employees. Any moron would know you had to increase that.
Well, they don't have no 300 correctional officers there.
Well, Bob, it should take somewhere like that, I would think, with 2,300 inmates. You know what I mean?
Well, it should for
But
safety standpoint, but they're not concerned about safety. They're not concerned about the employees.
well, Bob, but even if you go, okay, they should have 2,000. They have 1,200, which I don't think they have 1,200. If that whatever they report is high. I can tell you that.
They don't have 1,200 people. I can tell you that right now.
Well, yeah, Bob, here's the deal. There's some reasons I say that. One, when you go to the racetrack, if the horse is lost every time, don't bet on it unless you bet. That's called a long shot. That's called a long shot for a reason. Bob, they get their history, the Department of Corrections history. I've been up there to 10 years. They've lied, man, some of the biggest liars on the budget, some of the biggest liars on numbers, they've lied. Okay, that's their history. That's not maybe, I think that is their history. And, then you have that I'm getting calls from every one of these prisons. And guess what all those people are telling me?
What?
They're having to work overtime. They're having to work extra. They can't get off. They're shorthanded. They're pulling the towers. They're pulling the perimeters. They're pulling the people who run the X-rays. They're you know what I mean? That they're having to work
you come in, you check in, you go through the machine on your own.
Yeah, that's you own the honor system.
Yeah.
That's a good place. That's a good place to have an honor system at the prison, Bob. That's a heck of a place to have a good honor system. But Bob, that's what I'm saying. You call every prison. It doesn't matter which one. Every prison that they're shorthanded like that. And again, are we addressing it? Are they coming out and saying it? And then are they reporting these numbers that if they had those numbers, I wouldn't think you'd hear, you know what I'm saying? Would they be pulling towers? Would they be saying we no longer need towers? That's insanity right there. That's insanity to pull those key positions off of these yards. And again, do you expect we're going to get more dope? More dope means more problems. More dope means more games, gang activity, more stores, more illegal activity. It's insane. And now, Bob, you want to hear something really insane?
Yeah.
And this is the level. This just shows you to the level. So they now are come out with policy, my understanding, that if you come in and tell them my life's in danger, that if you do not tell them who told you, give them the whole 9 yards, they're going to put you right back out there. Now, here's the deal. There's a chance when you tell them they're going to put you right back out there. But even if they move, where are they going to move you to? You think that gang ain't got somebody at the next prison waiting for you when you get off the bus. You know what I'm saying? They've lost control. So now they're saying, you tell us everything or we're going to put you back out there. Well, guess what? They did that the other day, and then the guy ends up home. Now, you answer me this, Bob. How many people come in begging you to save their life that turn around and go take their own life? That's stupidity. I mean, that's ignorance. If somebody believes that.
Well, especially when you got less than a year to get out.
Well, and when you're down there saying, these guys right down here want to kill me, I'm being threatened, these guys are going to kill me. You go, hey, get back out there. Get back out there. And 10 minutes later or an hour later, you're hanging. Now, what's the chances that is murder, or what's the chances you took your own life? You know what I'm saying? It's highly unlikely that you took your life when you're down there begging them to save your life, when you're down there trying to do everything you can to live. And now in an hour, you've sat around and go, I got the answer to this. I'll just kill myself. I'll beat them to it and I'll kill myself. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But that's the conclusion. That's the conclusion. The Department of Corrections, OIG, under where they are now. And again, I say that, used to OIG, I had a lot of respect for. I've went out with them and done arrests. And, 2 or 3 years ago, I rode with them all over McAllister, I think, Hartshorn area. And we went out and made arrests. Those were some good guys. You know what I'm saying? Me and Ted didn't always agree on everything, but I could get along. I could call Ted and we could have a good conversation. The people Ted had working around him, I thought we're trying to do a pretty good job. I mean, this went to hell in a handbasket now with the cover-ups. I've seen some of their investigations. Shoddy don't even cover it. Shoddy don't even begin to describe it. It's bad. It's bad, Bob. And that's where we're at. And again, instead of coming out and saying that's where we're at, we're going to just go on down the road. And again,
well, JJ, it says a lot. And every week, we keep thinking it's going to get better. And every week, 2 or 3 people are killed. Every stinking week.
Used to, we would talk about other things. Like this deal that I'm talking about, like this policy they just enacted. We always have had in the last 3 to 4 years. I don't think there's a report that we come on that we hadn't had murders or, Bob, if we went 2 weeks without a killing in 4 years, I'd almost fall, I'd be shocked if there was a 2-week period in a 4-year period of time. Let's just go 3 years. Since Harp took over, in a 3-year period of time, if we've had 2 or 3 weeks of somebody not being killed, I'd be shocked. I don't think that it's happened. If it has, that's going to be rare. But I can tell you this, Bob, for the last, I don't know how many months, man, every week, I would say that we probably in the last, since May or so, probably have averaged 3 a week. At least I know we've averaged 2 a week, but we probably averaged, like I say, this week. What did we say? We got a death over there at Great Plains. So there's 1 death. We've got a death at 2 deaths at Allen Gamble. We got a death at Harp. So there's 4 this week. And then we got assaults on staff, serious. Mabel Bassett, assaults on staff at Lexington.
Yeah, we don't know about the ones that have been stabbed. Some of those guys have been stabbed 5 or 6 times, and we don't really know.
And again, Bob, I mean, go up there to OU Medical or Lindsay or one of the others. Walk in one of these hospitals and say, how many people you got here from this place? And you know what I'm saying? And then how is it that you ain't heard nothing? So that's the big question is these are the things that me and you are hearing with them covering everything up. What are we missing? Because I would venture to guess we're probably not catching. You think we catch half of it, Bob?
No, I really don't.
I would be surprised if me and you hit 50%. I would say we're doing super good because I don't think we probably catch 50%. I think we'd be down maybe in the 40, high 30-40% of what's going on that we're tapped into. Now I will say we got people all over the place that let us know what's going on. But I can't believe that we're going to hear everything. Somebody, I want to say that now that I left this out, but I wanted to say there was something happened at Veneta. Pretty certain something happened at Veneta, and I left that out. So I think there was another. I can't remember whether it was a killing at Veneta or what happened at Veneta, but I know there was something that happened at Northeastern. And I can't remember what it was. And that's another problem, Bob, is that we get so much stuff. And guys, if we don't get back to you, just keep calling us or keep after us.
Yeah.
Because we're just covered up. We're covered up. I mean, between this and DHS, it's just unbelievable. And Bob, our leadership in the House has completely failed on this. I mean, they've completely failed. The Senate has completely failed. And I will tell you, the one that I am sorely most disappointed in is Governor Stitt.
Yeah.
Because Governor Stitt had to know all this stuff was going on. I know he knew because I wrote him half the time and told him what was going on. And in order to keep his fair-haired child in there, and keep him at a great salary. And so, Bob, I'm wondering what really went on with all his people quitting. He had all 4 of those people quit in his top management places. And then he had the old goofball Harp quit, about the same time. That tells you something's going on.
Yeah, it sure does. Well, JJ, we just got a couple of minutes, so just go ahead and take us home.
Okay. Hey, guys, just want to tell you that you need to join OCP. If you have an issue, when the guy at Hamilton, me and Bob's going to call you right when we get off, if that's all right, Bob, see if we can get him on the phone. And, you guys, hey, if something's wrong, start documenting. Cover yourself. Cover yourself. You got to join OCP because they're firing everybody. Your best protection. Join with us. Make a strong statement. We're going to keep working to get your prisons back to the condition that they used to be. Hopefully, we're going to get a new governor here pretty quick. We may have to ride this one out and see what happens. But we're going to get a new governor, and maybe things will absolutely change. Hopefully, we get some new people in legislature. Hopefully, we get a new lieutenant governor. And if we do get a new lieutenant governor, I promise you he's going to be all over this. So we'll just have to just keep fighting. Y'all get out. Y'all become part of the solution and not part of the problem. And y'all have a very, very blessed day.
Well, thank you, JJ. I appreciate your help, everything you do for OCP. And for the employees at DOC, and we'll just see you next Friday.
Awesome. Bob, I'll holler at you in just a second. Bye-bye.
Thank you.